Welcome back, warrior. So today I'm waiting for someone outside here. They said they were going to be here at 7:30 and they are not. And so I'm like, fine. I didn't want them to ring the doorbell or whatever because I don't want the kids to wake up since it's summertime. I want them to get as much sleep as possible and not worry about waking up. Specifically, we're talking about Florida. Because sometimes she likes to wake up early. We don't appreciate that too much. We want to be able to get our stuff done. Okay, so really quick, the redhead hostess likes to give us teaching tips, and I thought these were really cute, so I wanted to, well, cute, right? I wanted them really, they're really good, and I wanted to kind of store them here. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so keeping Christ at the center, always staying focused on him. And so that was like the number one thing for this week's teaching tip. That's actually the number one thing always, not just when we're teaching. Other times, like always staying focused on Christ is the focus, is the goal, right? And so she says the truth is that every story in the scriptures is centered on Christ, but sometimes we can talk about the story without ever mentioning him or mentioning him very little, but he is always there. And the more we can recognize that, the more we will get to the heart of the story and the kind of applications that will truly strengthen us. And I love that. With her children, we can consistently be asking them questions like, so these are some examples. It says, how did you hear, or how did Christ guide Paul? What can you do to hear the voice of the Lord like Paul did? I like those questions. So, and then there's a few other ones. So it's like, these are more generic, not referencing Paul, but says, is anything too hard for the Lord? How did the Lord strengthen blank? And you just kind of fill in the blank with someone you're studying. And then Christ has many titles. What title of his does this story teach you about? And then what does this story strengthen your faith in Christ? Or how does this story strengthen your faith in Jesus Christ? What does the story teach you about different ways the Lord might guide, teach, or strengthen you? Those are so good. So she says the more we can tie things into Christ, the more fortifying that lesson will be. We will see how the Lord works among us. We will see how his power, we will learn more and more about his character, and we will increase our capacity to hear his voice. I'm like going like this. You can see, increase your capacity to see my forehead. But I really love those ideas. So that's the teaching tip for today. And then we're going to be reading Mosiah chapter 20. We have 26 verses in Mosiah 20. And again, I don't have my Book of Mormon to like read the chapter summary, so that's kind of sad. But we're going to get started anyway because the guy's not here and, you know, what else. I should really put this down somewhere so that I can, let's see if we can put it on my planter pot thing here. I accidentally turned it off. Okay, one more time. Oh, that's not bad. That is not bad. Okay. Are we getting me? I think we can kind of see me. Also, I should tell you that I actually don't like being outside. Why? Because it is scary with the bugs. And I think Flora gets that from me. She wigs out like crazy when there's bugs. So I apologize that we have now passed that down to my daughter. And poor thing, you know? Okay, so this is kind of fun. Get to do this in the grass here. So this will be good. I have all my stuff. I have note-taking things. Oh, I forgot to tell you. So we decide, sorry, I keep touching the mic. Not a good idea. I forgot to tell you though. Okay. It's a very, let me see, maybe I set it up over here. No, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. We'll just keep putting it over here and hopefully we don't touch it. Okay. So we decided to get a snow cone shack, remember? And the other one we were going to get did not work out. And then one of our good friends had a snow shack, shave ice shack for sale. And we checked it out. And honestly, it's like the cleanest one we've seen yet. And it is super cute, really awesome. It's kind of old, so I'm sad about that. But I think it's going to be amazing. So anyways, just want to give you the update there. And we're in the process of trying to hire some people. And so this is exciting that our family's going to embark in this new adventure. And I get to manage it with one of my friends that we've actually been dreaming about this for, I don't even know how many years, like forever. It seems like forever. At least more than 5 years. So, like, yeah, maybe it's been like 10 years. Maybe it has been 10 years. Because it was back when I was the Relief Society president in our congregation, which means it's like the president of all the women 18 and older. And she was a brand new Relief Society member because she just turned 18 and graduated. So she made me less nervous when I was president. And yeah, we've been really great friends ever since. But now I can't remember. Yeah, she was always willing to help me out, and she was just so kind. And anyway, since then she has gone to university and graduated, and yeah, it's just been awesome. So like to see her grow and everything, and like, yeah, I could have been her mom, because I can be anybody's mom, let's be honest. That's how old we are over here. And so anyways, that's just our little backstory. But yeah, maybe it has been 10 years. Feels like she's accomplished a lot in 10 years, and like went to school and graduated, and I'm like, oh, I have not done that. I've accomplished other things though. I just can't list them off right now. Okay, so Mosiah chapter 20. Verse 1. Now there was a place in Shemlon where the daughters of the Lamanites did gather themselves together to sing and to dance and to make themselves merry. Okay, this part is kind of triggering to me, just saying. And it came to pass that there was one day a small number of them gathered together to sing and to dance. And now the priests of King Noah, remember, the priests, they were like, yeah, they were being ashamed to return to the city of Nephi. They should be, they done left their families, their wives and their children, shame on them. Like, yes, I hope they feel shame. Anyway, yea, and also fearing that the people would slay them, therefore they durst not return to their wives and their children. No, but now they're gonna go and try and take some really young ladies. Like, I don't love this vision in my mind. I'm like, it's very triggering. It's very like, hey, since I was a jerk and since I left my whole family, now I get to have, now I get to steal these daughters and corrupt them. That's kind of what I'm thinking in my mind. And I don't appreciate that. Okay, so anyways, so then it says they had abandoned their families. Okay. And having tarried in the wilderness and having discovered the daughters of the Lamanites, they laid and watched them. Okay, creepers. Like, what? Some stalking peeps? Good job. This is like what we're doing. Now they should be ashamed of themselves more. And when there were but few of them gathered together to dance, they came forth out of their secret places and took them and carried them into the wilderness. Yea, 24 of the daughters of the Lamanites they carried into the wilderness. No, like, I would be so mad. Okay, if, like, yeah. if some older dudes came and stole my young daughter and were like, hey, we were jerks to our families, but we want to take your daughters to wife. What? No, I say thumbs down. Okay. Like so much thumbs down, both thumbs down. And no, go away. And you guys are creepers and pedophiles. Y'all's need to go somewhere and get yourself, like, go back to your wives and see if they'll take you back. And I bet they won't, because that's what you deserve. Okay. And then, anyways, this is me like venting. Okay. Because this is how much I don't like this story. Okay. So then, verses 1-5, this is what Radadosa says. The priests were living in the wilderness, and we learn in verse 3 that they had wives and children that they did not dare to return to. So they too had left their wives and children behind to fend. Okay, let's start over. So they too had left their wives and children behind to fend for themselves. These once prestigious priests were in the wilderness, living completely different lives, but they still had the same prideful hearts, so they just took what they wanted. There was a place where some daughters of the Lamanites would gather to sing and dance, and priests discovered them. On a day when there were not many there, they took them and carried them off into the wilderness. Okay, now we're going to see what happens. Okay, so, and it came to pass that when the Lamanites found out that their daughters had been missing, they were angry with the people of Limhi, totally different people, for they thought it was the people of Limhi. Yeah, no, bad rain. Okay. Therefore they sent their armies forth, yea, even the king himself went before his people, and they went up to the land of Nephi to destroy the people of Limhi. And now Limhi had discovered them from the tower. Even, let's see, and now Limhi had discovered them from the tower. Even all their preparations for war did he discover. Therefore he gathered his people together and laid wait for them in the fields and in the forests. Look, my friend Lori's over there, but she's on the phone. I don't want to interrupt. Where was I? Okay. Yeah. So his people gathered his people together and laid wait for them in the fields in the forest. And it came to pass that when the Lamanites had come up, that the people of Limhi began to fall upon them from their waiting places and began to slay them. And it came to pass the battle became exceedingly sore, for they fought like dragons for their prey. Okay, this makes me so mad, because they were fighting with the people who did not deserve to be fought with. Okay, and verse 11, and it came to pass that the people of Limhi began to drive the Lamanites before them, yet they were not half so numerous as the Lamanites, but they fought for their lives and for their wives and for their children, therefore, and their daughters. Okay, therefore they exerted themselves like dragons did they fight. Oh, I guess, and like lions for their prey was before, and then like dragons did they fight. Okay, so what? Okay, first of all, go check out the podcast, Like Dragons Did They Fight. It is from Maurice Harker, and he is the director of Life Changing Services, and he's the one who they run the Worth program for the women, and then they run the Men of Moroni program, and it's fantastic. Those are the programs that Clark and I used for helping us heal and understand things in a different way, but not discounting our spiritual strength, and so like that we get from the Lord. And I think because a lot of counseling and things like that don't necessarily include the gospel, I feel like sometimes we miss out on that piece, because we have the Lord and the strength that we can gain from him. And so I love the way that Life Changing Services brings in Jesus Christ as the center of our strength and our healing, and that's why we really like that. Anyway, so here's the recap. The Lamanites assumed that Limhi's people had taken their daughters, so they came to battle the Nephites, and a terrible war. They came to battle the Nephites, and a terrible war began. The injustice they were feeling was so great that even the king himself went before his people. Notice the words that Mormon used to help us understand how terrible this really was. They fought like lions for their prey, and like dragons did they fight. This is an example where symbolism really unveils the truth. Because of the symbols Mormon used, we have a have a better understanding of this war than if Mormon had said they fought really hard. That's true. That's true. And I actually really like that book, like Dragons Did They Fight? Because what happens is Maurice is trying to teach us, or more so trying to teach the men of Moroni that they need to become like Moroni, and that they can become like Moroni, okay, is one thing too. And then also that they have the ability and the strength and the help that they need to fight this addiction that they have, and that they can reclaim their family and their lives and their wives, you know what I mean? And so it's like you're fighting this battle against Satan and against these addictions that are so I don't know, are so prevalent in their lives. And so because Satan has made it like made an effort to really bring these men down, and so and break families apart, and so yeah, I really love he also has a book called like Dragons Did They Fight? So go read that and go listen to the podcast. You guys will love it. Okay. Anyway, so this was not a war of wickedness. This was a war where both sides had just causes, and neither wanted to give up their cause. The Nephites were defending their lives and families, and the Lamanites were defending their daughters. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. And notice in verse 8 how different Limhi was than his father. At a time where his people needed leadership, he led the people rather than flee. Oh, that's also something great to notice. Okay, verse 12. But I'm just so sad because it wasn't any of them, and they had to die. Like a lot of people had to die because of those dumb priests. Like that is still happening, you know, like, ugh. Like, and then the priests are going to get, you know, like the opportunity to have these brand new young women who know nothing of their evil, you know, like it's not fair. Okay, it's not fair. Yeah. Anyways, and it came to pass that they fought the king of the Lamanites among the number of their dead. He was not dead, having been wounded and left upon the ground. So speedy was the flight of his people. And they took him and bound up his wounds and brought him before Limhi. And said, Behold, here is the king of the Lamanites. He, having received a wound, has fallen among their dead, and they have left him. And behold, we have brought him before you, and now let us slay him. But Limhi said unto them, Ye shall not slay him, but bring him hither, that I may see him. And they brought him. And Limhi said unto him, What cause have ye to come up to war against my people? Behold, my people have not broken the oath that I made unto you. Therefore, why should ye break the oath which ye made unto my people? So this was the king of the Lamanites and King Limhi. Okay, and then we're going to read verse 15. It says, And now the king said, I have broken the oath, because thy people did carry away the daughters of my people. Therefore, in my anger I did cause my people to come up to war against thy people. I love that he says in his anger, because that's, of course, a reaction that we would have if anything happened, right? Like we go into like mama bear mode, we go into like warrior chemistry mode, we like use that and like we fight. Like, do not mess with my family, you know what I mean? And then verse 12 appears to be this is the commentary. Verse 12 appears to be after the battle was over and the Nephites were out surveying the damage. Among the dead Lamanites, they found the injured Lamanite king. The Nephites took the king, bound up his wounds, and brought him before King Limhi. Now the two kings are finally able to speak together, which should have happened at the first place. Okay, like, I'm just saying. Like, that would have saved a lot of trouble, a lot of heartache, but apparently we know that they were in reactive mode, not, you know, taking a deep breath and then acting, right? So that's another reason why people could die, because that's what happens. Okay, and says, among the dead Lamanites found that, so now the two kings are finally able to speak together, and King Limhi has his opportunity to ask why he had broken his oath to slay his people, and the king of the Lamanites explained that it was because of their daughters being carried away. Imagine when King Limhi heard this, right? What would his response be? Yeah, like, what? Why did we do all that? And it was not cool because we weren't even the ones who did that. Okay, so then verse 16. And now Limhi had heard nothing concerning this matter. Therefore he said, I will search among my people, and whosoever has done this thing shall perish. Therefore he caused a search to be made among his people. This is like the first thing they could have done, right? Now Gideon, verse 22. Now Gideon had heard these things, he being the king's captain. He went forth and said unto the king, I pray thee, forbear, and do not search this people, and lay not this thing to their charge. For do ye not remember the priests of thy father, whom this people sought to destroy, and are not in the wilderness? Are they not in the wilderness? And are not they the ones who have stolen the daughters of the Lamanites? Dude, that would have been like the moment where you're like, wait, what? Oh yeah. Oh, and then you would feel so bad. And now behold, and tell the king of these things, that he may that he may tell his people that they may be pacified towards us. For behold, they are already preparing to come against us, and behold, also there are but few of us. And behold, they come with their numerous hosts, and except the king doth pacify them towards us, we must perish. For are not the words of Abinadi fulfilled, which he prophesied against us, and all this because we would not hearken unto the words of the Lord, and turn from our iniquities? So, I mean, technically, it is sad that those people died, but it was also like fulfillment of prophecy, right? So it's still sad, but fulfillment of prophecy. Because they originally burned a prophet, killed a prophet, murdered a prophet of God. Like, come on. And now let us pacify the, but they would have, like, a lot of innocent people died. Okay. Anyway, and now let us pacify, like, how come those priests didn't die? That's who I'm talking about, And now let us pacify the king, and we will fulfill the oath which we have made unto him. For it is better that we should be in bondage than we should lose our lives. Therefore, let us put a stop to the shedding of so much blood. Okay. So when King Limhi was told what happened to the Lamanite daughters, he considered this a terrible thing and did not shrug off the accusation. He vowed to search his own people, take punishment into his own hands. He did say, we would never do that. He believed the king and acted. Gideon had become the king's captain, which means that he would have been in the terrible battle with the Lamanites. As he was listening to the story of the Lamanite daughters, he remembered the priests, and he knew their character and that they were the ones capable of doing this. Gideon also pointed out that Abinadi's prophecy had been fulfilled. This was a good advisor for King Limhi. This is the kind of counsel a king needs. So Gideon knew that the Lamanites were preparing to come back to battle, and now he knew why they were fighting, which means Gideon understood that they had righteous anger and would not give up. They had a true reason to fight. Gideon then suggested that the king of the Lamanites should go to his own people and pacify them or calm them to telling them the true situation. A lot was at stake for both groups, right? And like, you don't want to like make more innocent people die. Like, that's just what you don't want. Okay, and then verse 23 to 26. And now, I'm spitting all over the place. Good thing I'm your scripture buddy. Whew, good thing I'm your scripture buddy at a distance. And now Limhi told the king all the things concerning his father and the priests that had fled into the wilderness, and attributed the carrying away of their daughters to them. And it came to pass that the king was pacified towards his people. And he said unto them, let us go forth to meet my people without arms. And I swear unto you that with an oath that my people shall not slay thy people. And it came to pass that they followed the king and went forth without arms to meet the Lamanites. And it came to pass that they did meet the Lamanites, and the king of the Lamanites did bow himself down before them, and did plead in behalf of the people of Limhi. And when the Lamanites saw the people of Limhi that they were without arms, they had compassion on them, and were pacified towards them, and returned with their king in peace to their land. So there is goodness among the Lamanites. And we always knew that. There's always goodness in everyone. But sometimes it's just hard to see when we're really angry and we think that we are in the right. Okay, verse 23 to 26. Limhi, it said, the commentary. Limhi followed Gideon's counsel and told the king of the Lamanites all the things concerning his father and the priest that had fled into the wilderness. And this pacified the king, which means appeased or calmed him. Then King Limhi offered to go with him to meet the Lamanites while bearing no weapons. That would have been a very brave act. We can see the goodness among the Lamanites in verse 26. For once they had heard the Nephites' side of the story, they had compassion on them and were pacified towards them. So, yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so what was Gideon? So this is a question from the Redhead Hostess. Why was Gideon a good advisor to King Limhi? Well, because he gave good counsel. He wasn't like the wicked priests who were like, yeah, burn this prophet. Look at what he did. He reviled the king. You remember that? Oh, these priests, dude. I hope they get their comeuppance, whatever that means. And anyways, and then here's the second question. What principles stand out the most to you from this chapter? Principles. Well, first, I think we got to get the whole story before we act. Like, that's one of the things that stood out to me from this chapter. It's like, before getting crazy, making hasty decisions, get all the information that you can. Collect as much information as you can so that you can make a wise, informed decision. Otherwise, a lot of things are going to happen that don't need to happen. And people will get hurt that don't need to get hurt, And so there's that. But then also listen to the prophet, right? Like, he said what was up like a while back. And he did not, oh good, the guy who is coming over, okay, he just said he's going to be there in 20 minutes. That's like an hour and 10 minutes late. I think it's what I get because I'm always late. And so I'm not usually that late, but maybe like several times I was late is accumulating to this moment now. So, but I'm glad that I didn't skip reading scriptures just because he was not available when I thought he would be. Because now I have finished reading my scriptures and it is great. So sometimes I actually like wait around for people, and I found that I can't just wait around for people because then I don't accomplish the things that I want to accomplish in the day. And I usually have a lot of things that I want to accomplish in a day, and probably more. Usually, like, I try to do like this top three things for each day, and it ends up having like 5 to 10 things. And today actually has like 15 things on my top 3 list. So, there's a lot of things that I want to accomplish. And so when people are like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not coming for, like, all I need is for you to tell me when you're going to be there, like, I totally get people being late because I'm always late, but I'm usually like 10, maybe 20 minutes late, depending on who it is. But usually 10 minutes is like my thing. Like at church, I'm usually about 5 to 10 minutes late, and it's sad because I really try to be done faster. I wake up earlier, it feels like every Sunday, just to try and get there earlier. Anyways, it's fine. You don't need to know all that stuff. But anyway, so this guy's showing up an hour and 40 minutes. No, what did I say? An hour and 10 minutes late. So, it's adding up all my church being late. So where was I? The question was, what principles stand out most to you from this chapter? So yeah, the principle was, gather information, don't make hasty decisions, be in control, and don't be in reactive mode, right? Be in response mode, not reactive mode, reaction mode, because people can get hurt. And anyways, so of course I want to forgive this guy for being late, because people are always so forgiving of me, except those other people who are never forgiving of me. And then in which case, it's like on their own, whatever. You're not gonna. But also the thing that I struggle with is those priests, because they have still not repented of who, like, their actions. Like, they realize, here's the thing, they realize that they made a bad choice. They realize enough, okay? They realize enough that they made a bad choice, but now they're too cowardly to show up for their wives and their families again, and apologize and humble themselves and admit that they were wrong. And that is the problem with this addiction, with is that the men in our lives, when Satan has that grasp on them, we will get bursts of light, and it'll come through sometimes, and I believe that that's what happens to our men, and they'll get those bursts of light, of moments. And this is what Clark told me. He's like, there's moments of time where I realize what I've done and the error of my ways and the bad choices that I've made, but the shame takes over, because Satan, engulfs them in that shame. And so then they don't get that, they don't get courageous enough to be able to stay humble and go and apologize and try and take ownership for what they did. And so instead, it seems that they're still stuck in that grasp of Satan, and they won't go and apologize. And instead they're taking, like what they said, they're taking things that they want instead of confronting their problems and acknowledging they're wrong. And so, yeah, like so that they're still in addict mode, is what we call it. They're still in addict mode because they don't take those steps to take ownership, So anyway, I think if I think about it too long, I get really upset about the scriptures there, and it really is triggering. And I'm like, those daughters need to fight back and kill each one of those guys. That's what I think, for being so wicked. But I also know what that means about what I'm saying in real life. So don't, there's no excuse for abuse. There's no violence. We don't need violence. But you see what I'm saying? Anyways, okay. So the question that we originally started with was, remember, keep Christ at the center and always staying focused on him. And so this chapter didn't really talk about Christ at all, except for the fact that Abinadi was the prophet who prophesied that the Lamanites would experience hardships because of him, because of what they were doing to him. And so what I love is that we need to listen to a prophet's voice, because the prophet speaks for the Lord, and the prophet is trying to help us understand what is going to happen to us if we don't make good choices. And so he's really just warning us. He's not trying to condemn us. He's not trying to I don't know how else to put it, but he's trying to warn us, because there are consequences to our actions. Always. There's good consequences, and then there's bad consequences. And you always want the good consequences to your actions if you make a good choice. And so if we can just make good choices, we will get the good consequences. And then of course, you experience like bad consequences from other people because they have agency as well. But for the most part, you won't have to suffer because of your own choices of, not following Jesus Christ and his prophets. So anyways, I think following the prophet is always the best, the safest, the best route to go. And that's what I'm going to take away from this chapter, because if I go to the other spot, it makes me angry. And I don't want to be angry. I want it to be a good day, right? Let's have it be a good day. Good day. There's that song, Good Day, by, now I can't remember what his name is. Look it up though. Good Day by Forrest Frank. Forrest Frank. It's such a cute song. You gotta download that song. Anyway, or listen to it. Anyway, it's a good Christian song. It's not like a weird song. So anyway, until tomorrow, until we read chapter 21 in Mosiah, stay strong, warrior.